What's up everyone, how are you? Check this out. Wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to demo one of these for a while. Ever since I saw them, the brand new generation Yamahas come out with ultralight motor, and we finally actually have one here on this elite level tiny boat that we're building. I get to demo it on what many people has deemed as my best boat yet, and we're going to stick 2 grown men over 220 pounds apiece with a full live well, a full gas tank, a tournament load essentially, all kinds of crap. I mean, this boat is pretty well strapped down, right at its weight capacity, and we're going to go ahead and put this motor on and tell you how it did. Check out the demo, and then I'm going to compare it to my Merc 25 horse EFI 4-stroke that I have on my boat. I'll tell you the pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses of both. I've had that one for a year, and I'm glad I was able to run this one and compare it and then just talk about how they operate. And what I think is really good, I get a lot of questions about what is the best motor for like the horsepower class in each, for the 15, for the 20, for the 25, and etc. And I finally I'll break that down for you after this. I'll give you a pretty detailed analysis, but I want to show you the motor first. Check it out. In case you're wondering what that big rooster tail is, it's the Mega SI transducer for all the Hummingbird graphs, just kind of displaying them out there. I'm like, dude, you can tell, same thing, chewed away at the motor mounts down here. You can see the whole motor flex and shake like an older 2-stroke. You can see the motor flex. And really that's crucial, because if you didn't have a tilt to adjust to the flex, like you could have a trim pin set and it would still flex past the trim pin. So we hung out a little bit, tested out the boat initially, check for any sort of things we wanted to change or things we can make different. Really, just on a side note, this is a tiny boat of a lifetime for a 14-foot mini bass boat, right now, it's a really hard boat to beat. Just FYI, since you're on the channel checking this out, definitely my best boat yet for a 14-foot class. Definitely the one I want to leave a mark on before I move on to bigger and better things. Let's get some of the cons out of the way, like some of the things I would have changed that really had nothing to do with the motor particularly, but my setup. It's on a CMC power tilt. So that's part of it. Because of the CMC power tilt and because we had to back it out a lot, apparently the farther the motor is off the transom, the more inches it can actually go up versus it being directly on the transom. So this motor could probably go up, I think, 2 or 3 inches for it to be at optimal height to be, so the motor did drag a little bit, and that did affect its overall top speed, which I think it could have probably broke 25, 26 if we just had it right, but it was dragging, and that was the point. The other one, it was a 10 pitch, which I think, no, I'm sorry, this is an 11 pitch. 11 pitch prop on its stock, which I think is a little much for what we tried to load it down on. So I think for a bare hull, like if this Alumacraft V14 was just a bare hull like it was, with 2 people and gear, I think it would have done all right. But I think the 11 pitch was too much. It really does need a 10 or a 9. I had to go all the way to a 9 pitch on my outboard to really get optimal performance. Really, theoretically, the power tilt helps a lot. Like if you get a long shaft and you have to choose between whether or not you want a power tilt or an electric start, the power tilt is way better than electric start. Unless you just have like stick arms, or you're kind of old and your joints are not as good as they used to be. I mean, electric start is nice, but it doesn't affect the way your boat moves, as long as you can pull the cord, and these are not hard to pull. As long as you can pull the cord and the motor starts, that's it. But the power tilt is probably invaluable. So if you have to choose between which option it has, because I know to have them both together drastically increases the price of the engine. But just to let you know, power tilt, worth it. And you want to get an aftermarket power tilt like the CMC jack plate, worth it. Every penny, I'm gonna get one. I had no idea what the worth was for one of these on a tiny boat, but they are absolutely worth it. The best version to get them, though, is on the actual motor itself, because that way it'll be the lightest and it'll be the best setup. And you won't have to have this ridiculous, like we have like a 6, almost 7 inch offset back. And that does affect the way the boat does its thing. Once we have the motor pitched right and raised right, I expect this one to perform quite well. Like it already did pretty well considering it wasn't set right in the height and it has too high a pitch. I think it did really good. And we were flying. Like we were going pretty darn fast and the boat was pretty way down. And this is a very, very sturdy boat. This Alumacraft V14, in my opinion, probably the best tiny boat out there. The best boat in its class for a 14-foot boat. The load capacity and the strength and the stability. Alumacraft continues to outdo themselves. I mean, they're my favorite brand. I'm not supposed to be biased. They are. How does it compare to my Merc? I think they are pretty comparable in power. I don't think this one outpowers. It does. It does. It's better than the Merc, but this is why. Because the Mercury 25 horse is not trying to tackle the same issue that this one is trying to tackle with the application. Like where Merc really tried to attack the application process, like it's all about application and where's it going to be applied for the portable short shafts. So Merc chose to tackle the 15 and the 20 horse by really eating away and chewing at the motor mounts and slimming down the design to make their 15 and 20 horse ultralight. And because of that, and because of how strong the 20 horse is, not necessarily the 15, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but the 20 horse Merc, that is the best in-class 20 horse, period. I don't care if it is or isn't made by Tohatsu, who gives a shit. Like, that Merc that's the best 20 horse out there. So if you want to be doing which one's better, the Merc 20 or like the Yamaha 20, I would say the Merc 20 specifically because that's at CC. The actual motor is meant to be maxed out. It's made to be a 20 horse. Now, if Merc really actually tweaked it more, it made a 25 horse out of that 2-cylinder level, and it still be like 99 pounds or so, that would be really very interesting. But I don't know if they'll do that or if they can do that because they still have like their standard 25 horse CFIs, which weigh obscenely more than this. This thing weighs 121 pounds. Bone dry for a short shaft. It goes a little bit up for a long shaft, but really it's still only like a few pounds extra when you add stuff on. So it has a electric start, so it's a little heavier, and its long shaft's a little heavier than the standard motor, but it's still like almost 40 pounds lighter than my motor. 40 pounds is a lot for a tiny boat. 40 pounds sometimes can make or break whether or not you were going to plane in a boat with size and horsepower limits. It's not like you can, where like you're in a bigger boat and it's 100 to 500 pounds that can actually make or break your boat. Like 50 pounds can make or break your boat. But I think that this motor does do really well is because it is just like how the Merc made the 20 horse, like the max CC for that, the max horsepower for that CC range. This one did the same thing for the 25. Like the 25 is really its pinnacle, what it wanted it to be for the actual motor size. So it's not a watered down 25 like mine. My 25 horse is a watered down version of the 30 horse. The 30 horse Merc, the difference between the 25 horse performance, mine, and the 30 horse performance is substantially a lot. Like you can tell. It says only 5 horsepower, feels like 10 plus on my boat. And also with the 15 horse, the Merc 15, and the Merc 20, the brand new generation Mercs, like I tested out a 15 horse Merc, and I've tested out a few 20s, and I'll tell you, the 15 horse Merc is a watered down 20 horse. It's got a watered down ECU, and it's got a throttle restrictor, and it's just, it feels like a 10 horse difference versus a 5 horse difference. So my overall opinion, a watered down motor block sucks. I don't like it. So if you're going to get the version of the motor, get the best version of the motor. Don't get a watered down version unless you absolutely have to get a watered down version. Because I would take the Merc 20 over the Yamaha 20 all day, specifically because you get more horsepower per the CC, like, you know, for the engine block. The strength to weight ratio is just better. And then second of all, it's just not watered down. Like the Merc 20 horse is ridiculously powerful. You can tell a little difference in torque band, but like high end, like it probably would get up there with this one. It's on the second hand, the Merc 15, I wasn't terribly impressed with its ability. It felt just like a 20 that just couldn't do it. Felt like it was just watered down. And I haven't tested a Yamaha 20 horse, but I very much feel that it's going to feel exactly how I felt with the Merc 15 horse. It's going to feel like a watered down version of this. So if you can swing it, I mean, unless you were dealing with serious horsepower caps, I would just swing the bigger model. I would swing a 20 for the Merc, I would swing a 25 for this Yamaha, and anything bigger, I mean, you just got to do your research. It's really hard. It's obscenely expensive to get an ECU mod. You might as well just buy a new motor. And a lot of people out there, they won't even do an ECU mod to upgrade the ECU or take out the throttle. They won't do it because of the sheer amount of risk and liability from like Merc or Yamaha or any other big motor company finding out and suing them for tampering with the motor ECU. So it's just, it's what are you gonna do? I know before I get a whole lot of slack about what I said about the 15 horse Merc, know that even though it's still a watered down version of the 20 horse, it's still probably the lightest 15 horse out there. So it's still not that bad, especially if you have like a fairly bare hull or just a hull with like slight mods that aren't too heavy. But if you're gonna try and like max out something like this boat where it has everything under the sun, where the majority of its weight just comes from the extra additional add-ons, not even raw materials into the boat. Raw materials into the boat don't even weigh that much. It's all the graphs and the trolling motor and all the wiring and accessories and batteries and live well and external mods. Like the external mods really weigh down this boat a lot, but that is what it is. We're still under load. We're still way under capacity, even with all the external mods. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. Well, so who do you guys think won? You think the Yamaha 25 takes it? Do you think the Yamaha takes it all together? Do you agree with my analysis of the stronger motor for the weight to strength ratio versus the watered down version of the block? What do you guys think about all that? That's my analysis. I hope this helps you out. Let me know what you think about in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon because that's how we do our thing here. Or I'll see you out there.